We're back. Daily Stripe, February 28th, 2023. It's Tuesday. Dan Snyder stealing money from the NFL. Players getting released from the NFL. Players getting hurt in the NBA and the MLB. Not like a happy Tuesday for sports. Kind of a sad one, honestly. You sit down and realize it.
And normally Tuesdays are supposed to be great.
Tacos.
Taco Tuesday.
Tequila Tuesday.
Club going up.
Club. I haven't done that in a while, but yeah. I mean, typically a dollar beer is back. If we're going way back in the day for us, Tuesdays are typically a happy day. We'll start with Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, both former second overall picks. Mariota on his third team being released. Wentz also on his third team being released. Whose career is more disappointing to you?
Man, I'd probably have to go with Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it has to do with injuries, but I think as a prospect, as a draft prospect at least, people were more psyched on his characteristics and traits. I think with Mariota, people were definitely a little timid to see if, he went second overall, but regardless, the style of play just didn't really translate.
Yeah.
He was great in college.
Unbelievable. Heisman.
Plenty of guys who do that, who don't translate. But I think when you look at Carson Wentz's arm talent and the throws that he makes, it's kind of sad that he hasn't been able to really put it all together. And a lot of it's just staying healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up the injuries. You could go back, and people always go back to that season where the Eagles won with Nick Foles.
Right.
But up until that point, he was the MVP of the league, people were saying.
Yeah, he got them there.
Yeah, and the being psyched about the prospect, and it's a really good point because Carson Wentz comes from small school. Marcus Mariota is from Oregon, right? So Wentz coming in, it's really about him as a prospect and his traits, and what his, projections are and his ceiling is, and that's why he's picked at number 2. Marcus Mariota is all right, he may be able to translate, but he was so dominant in college.
Yep.
We have to take the flyer on him at number 2. Two different kinds of prospects, both injury riddled, but Wentz obviously showing way more promise. Do you think either of these guys retire?
No, I don't think they retire just yet, but I think the clock is definitely ticking.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think they each go?
It doesn't matter at this point.
You don't think it matters?
They're both backups now.
Their starting careers are done.
I would say Carson probably has another shot, but I'd imagine Marcus Mariota doesn't get another opportunity to start for a team. Unless it's where someone goes down or something. No one's signing him to be their starter this year.
If I was Wentz, we've spoken a lot about these NFC South teams. If I'm Wentz, I would take a look at all those NFC South teams.
Sure.
Now you have to wait for the market see where Garoppolo goes.
Frank Reich, he's in Carolina now. That was his guy.
He wasn't bad in Indy. He wasn't that bad.
Right.
Last year he was not good with the Commanders. But I don't think Bieniemy, honestly, it's unfortunate because he comes in and we're assuming that he can be great with the Commanders. Wentz doesn't get that opportunity to play with him. I would, if I'm Wentz, I go, okay, the Buccaneers are in a bad position to trade up and get a top pick. Let's say all these guys are going to go in the top 7, these 4 quarterbacks.
Right.
The Buccaneers are in a bad position. Do they get Lamar? Maybe. But if they miss out on Lamar, they miss out on Jimmy G, or they don't get Jimmy G and they miss out on Derek Carr, Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert are the guys. I'm Carson Wentz, the team friendliest deal to go in there and compete. To me, that's a great situation if you're Carson Wentz.
I don't think the Bucs are missing out on people. I think they're probably the most desired destination to go for these free agent quarterbacks because it's the best opportunity to win right away.
Mm-hmm. I just think a lot of cap room would have to be moved around. Talk about the Commanders. They release Wentz and they save $26 million plus. Crazy.
So much money.
So much money, but they have to pay De'Aaron Payne, in my opinion. They could franchise him, but you eventually have to pay him.
Yep.
He's one of your best players. He's not your best player this past year. You paid Scary Terry. You may have to be in a position to pay Dotson someday. You may have to be in a position to pay Chase Young, Sweat, Jonathan Allen. You've invested so much in the defensive line.
Yeah.
And these guys really haven't played that much together because Young's been out for most of last year. So you really want to see the opportunity of all 4 of those guys in your defensive front. To me, if there's going to be a team that trades up in the draft, the Commanders, it's now or never for them, in my opinion. I think you have to go up. And I don't know if a project guy like Richardson or a risky guy like Young, I know they've tried their luck with, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins in the first round with an Ohio State quarterback. I don't think that should spook them. I think the Commanders, if they smell blood in the water for C.J. Stroud, should go up and get him at all costs. Because at that point, you restart your quarterback clock with Stroud, and then you could put your money elsewhere. And you already have the guys in the building. Like, they went 8-1 last year.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a team that can go from not worst to first because they weren't worst, but actually they were last in that division.
They were last in that division.
I guess worst to first, but
yeah.
they play competitive games, and like a lot of it's based on the defense, and with the new offensive coordinator that's coming in, it's like the spark plug that they need to really get things moving. And I think we liked what we saw of the run game last year.
Sure.
And of course they've got great receivers. It's all about the stability at quarterback. Heineke's fine. I mean,
good guy.
I like him as like a gamer and a player, and as a person. We met him down at Radio Row a couple years ago, and he was super nice. But you need a guy who's going to be the franchise quarterback, and as you're saying, on the cheap, where you can pay these other guys and let this guy's rookie year ride out. So if Stroud's your guy, Stroud's your guy.
Yeah, and they need to sell this team too.
That too.
Dan Snyder charged the team $4.5 million to put the logo on his private jet.
So stupid.
What a joke.
It's his team.
I don't get,
I don't know how that makes sense. It's his team.
Yeah, what I don't understand is how there's been so many bad rumors about him for at least, it seems like a decade at this point.
Yeah.
Like, they forced guys, at least in the NBA, they forced guys out.
Well, I mean, yeah, like what's his face from the Clippers?
The Sterling, the Suns guy, and I know it's racially,
Right. But look, I think when it comes to the NFL, they've got 32 guys who run each team, right?
Yeah.
And they technically all work for the league,
sure.
Right? They're not employed by the league, but they embody the league. The league should have the power to say, if you don't represent us well enough, then you are out.
I think so. For sale.
Yeah. Cash out, you're done.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're still making a ton of money on when they sell these teams. I mean, what they bought them for years ago, they've exponentially created so much money for themselves. So, look, it's not the biggest punishment in the world, but force the sale.
Yeah.
It should have been done years ago.
This guy's such an idiot. He won't sell it to Bezos because of a grudge. He's going to sell it. But at this point, just get it over with, dude. Your name's dragged through the mud for if I'm him, I'd be sick of hearing my name in the newspaper.
Your legacy's tarnished,
destroyed. Wipe my butt with it, dude.
Yeah,
destroyed legacy. But I think this, on a lighter note, this Commanders team, with unfortunate for Wentz, but has a lot of promise. I'm curious to see where he goes. The Jets, if they miss out on guys, could be a nice opportunity. I think Mariota, hey, go sign backup Kirk Cousins or something like that, or go back up a potential contender, right?
Yeah.
And maybe if the guy goes down, you could be in a position to win a playoff game.
To be Nick Foles.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think that's kind of the NFL roundup right now. We head into the combine this week. It's super exciting. All three quarterbacks are throwing. Bryce Young's measuring, which is going to be really interesting to see how he comes in. So definitely look out for that. We'll get into that later in the week. NBA, LaMelo Ball out for the season. Unfortunate. He's an all-star, literally. The all-star last year. He fractures his ankle. He's done for the year. I mean,
nothing's going right in Charlotte right now.
They have to be the most sorry franchise in all of sports.
As it stands right now, yeah, definitely.
Them or the Cardinals are neck and neck.
Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. Or neck and A's.
A's, it's a sad story because I feel like they're doing it to themselves. I've been saying this forever. They're self-sabotaging themselves so they can force a move. Their attendance is lower than any other professional sports team every year. It's awful. And what do? They just sell their players away.
I want to see how many people do they fit in their stadium.
The capacity is definitely around 40 or 50,000. I mean, it's maybe even bigger. It's where the Raiders used to play.
Yeah, I'm looking at their stadium capacity. I'm just so curious. I mean, they're a pathetic franchise. But you go to the Hornets, and they miss on draft picks all the time.
Yeah.
LaMelo's injured, and he was an all-star last year. And it gets to
that was a draft pick that they don't miss on.
Yeah, the draft pick they don't miss on is not working out. The Gordon Hayward contract not going great. Rozier's fine. Mark Williams, like, I think could be actually be really solid, but the Book Knight again is like a huge miss. The Bridges thing's a disaster. PJ Washington's fine, and like you give up on Malik Monk, who's now playing his best basketball in Sacramento, a guy that kind of needed a little time to marinate in the NBA. It's really the most obviously unfortunate injury goes to LeBron James, who's just going to be reassessed in 2 weeks. So you're the Lakers, and you're 4-1 since the deadline, and you're in a position to get into the play-in and potentially really, get in and chase that 6th seed. You have a great win against the Mavericks. You win your most recent game, and now without LeBron, it was very telling for me as a Celtics fan watching the Knicks, and it was also seeing, what happened in the Pelicans Magic game. And again, the Magic aren't a playoff team, but the Knicks are. And if you go to the Garden and you're missing Jaylen Brown, who's your second best player and on some nights your leading scorer, you're not going to win that basketball game.
Probably
the Knicks
not.
are going to smell blood in the water and take advantage of
They're
you.
not a bad team this year.
The Knicks are good.
No.
The Knicks are like the 6th seed. They're a playoff team, not a play-in team.
Right.
So they're a playoff team, and they're going to take advantage if they see injuries. I was talking about this with Arash McCarthy when he was in, and it was like, hey, who's going to be the healthiest team at the end of the deal? Like when you remember your Clippers took the Suns as much as they can go, and Paul George was heroic, Terrence Mann's breakout. Realistically, no Kawhi Leonard, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And you're in Chris Middleton against the Bucks last year being out. I mean, with the Bucks last year against the Celtics being out, they still want the 7 games. So it's going to be whoever's the healthiest team, and KD's coming back tomorrow, and we'll talk about that
Making his
tomorrow.
debut with the Suns.
Yeah, more in depth. But the long and short of it is, he needs to play. They need to get acclimated with each other. It's not just going to be okay,
Definitely.
perfect basketball the minute he steps on the court. Yes, some of these guys have played together in Team USA, in All-Star games, and they're friends, but and off the court and off the NBA court. But at the same time, you have to get acclimated with the head coach, with the system on the NBA court. And the Nuggets pretty much at full health right now.
Yeah,
the Grizzlies are healthy. Certain teams are healthy, and for the Lakers, who have a lot of ground to make up, LeBron being out could be the end of their season.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to make the finals.
They're not going to make the finals now, but if they got to 500 or a little better, which is plausible, that was a team that you do not want to see that team healthy in the playoffs. You have LeBron and AD, LeBron's obviously won before, but so is AD in the toughest setting, in my opinion. And you had added all this depth with Beasley, Vanderbilt, D'Lo. You had a really strong deadline. Guys coming back from injury. They had a 9-guy rotation. And if you're a young Grizzlies team who's exciting, they play great basketball, a well-coached team, but you don't want to see that Lakers team in the first or second round.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's a really dangerous team, and now they have too much ground to make up, so they're done. Dame Lillard, a guy that we've been talking about lately, came out and said, I think we all would like this. He's look at Russ, because we talk about him getting traded all the time for how long? Pretty much since we started the show. And he's look at Russ. Killed it in Oklahoma City. Get his jersey retired there, MVP, All-Star, Hall of Famer. Wants to change the scenery. Goes to Houston. Harden wants out. Then he gets moved to the Wizards. He gets moved to the Lakers.
Disaster.
Lakers don't want – it's a disaster. So Dame Lillard's look, grass isn't always greener.
Right.
I thought that was a very interesting point because we're talking about him getting his jersey retired while he's still playing. But, sometimes, he's being loyal and he doesn't want to be the typical NBA star where things aren't going right. It's get me off the ship. But he also looks like it. If you go to that Lakers team where Kobe's real last stand with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, everyone's oh my God, this is going to be
Don't ruin your legacy, though.
Yeah, it's amazing until it's not.
Right.
Everything could be great on paper, but paper isn't everything. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a really interesting quote. And then baseball injuries, Gavin Lux isn't the superstar for the Dodgers, but he's a really good player. He's out for the year towards ACL.
He's the guy who's supposed to be taking over for Trey Turner.
Yeah, so it's a massive loss for them. Again, the Dodgers pretty quiet this offseason.
We know why they're being quiet.
For Shohei.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm not sold on him going there, to be honest.
I'm not sold on him going there either because I think a lot of teams want him. But
he'll be gone come August 1.
You think he's gonna get traded come August 1?
Do you don't?
I don't know.
He's not staying there.
I don't know.
How much do you pay? How much do you pay Shohei Ohtani? What did Manny just get? 11 for $350.
Yeah.
So what do you pay Ohtani, who's younger?
You probably give him $450.
$450.
Yeah.
Close to half a bill.
Yeah. $450. $45 million a year.
Okay. I could get behind that. Definitely over the first over 400 guy. For me, with Ohtani, they're like the number 4 team of that division.
Yeah.
Like the Rangers are better than them.
They're going to be good this year, the Rangers.
I think so too. Like they add Eovaldi,
They might make
DeGrom.
the playoffs.
I don't disagree. Like realistically, like the White Sox, if you go to the whole Central, the Central's like garbage in the AL.
Yeah.
Not good. And you go to the AL East, I think the Rays are like, they could be great, they could not be great. Like either way is not going to surprise me. The Sox erring on the side of not being great, but could like be better than people anticipate, but still not there. The O's, like to me, like the Rangers and the Sox, like I think the Rangers are a better squad. Like lineup is pretty strong. You at least have a great middle of the infield. You have good outfielders. If Nathan Lowe's for real, like all of a sudden, not only your middle infield is good, but your whole infield could be good if Jung comes up. Like, and then you have DeGrom and you have Eovaldi and you have a bevy of pitchers coming there, and it's their team all of a sudden is pretty strong. And that's like not even mentioning the Mariners, who we think are better than them. And the Astros, who you had said have like them and the Mets are tied with like the most players in the top 100, according to MLB, and they still have guys churning because they're such a wagon with their farm system. I look at the Angels, and I don't think they're going to be competitive. I wouldn't be surprised if both those guys are in different teams.
Trout too?
Like you have to. It's like enough already. Like first of all, you're not really putting that many people in the seats anyway.
Yeah.
Like. So at a certain point, is like, are you going to be mediocre forever? Like he's not going to request a trade. He's got his money.
Yeah, but I mean, man, if they got rid of Ohtani and Trout before the deadline, and that's just like the biggest failure of all time.
1,000% in the history of sports.
In the history of sports, but also at the same time, like your farm system's going to be stacked.
If you are the 4th team at the deadline and Trout is healthy the whole year and playing like, which he will, play like Mike Trout, and if they're both those guys are playing the way they play and they're both healthy and you're the 4th team, you're not going to get an opportunity to cash in like this ever again. You have to look at it like that. Like Ohtani, you can't run the risk of losing him in free agency. Trout, you can't run the risk of it. He has had injury issues. And you have to cash in on both those guys. And think about all the teams that would go after these dudes.
Right.
The Yankees come calling. Obviously, the Mets. I don't think you guys
The Dodgers would.
Dodgers for either or. I don't know if you guys do.
Probably not.
Probably. I don't know if you need to. I think the Musgrove injury is kind of crappy, but I think he'll be fine by May.
No, he's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's it.
It's a fractured toe.
Yeah, but isn't it not?
They say he's going to start throwing in 2 weeks.
Okay, so he may miss a start.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys do anything like that crazy. I think the hope is that you don't need to.
I don't think we're going to make any moves at the deadline unless it's for like Corbin Burns or something like that. When it comes to trying to sign Ohtani, that's going to be an off-season thing.
Sure. Yeah, you may have to reevaluate. Like, look, best case scenario, it's similar to how we talk about our Longhorns. Like, and you talk about, sometimes a good offense is good defense. Like, you go get one of these guys so someone else, like, in your group doesn't. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you're the Mets, if you're the Padres, if you're, like, the Yankees, like, you've made your moves. Right. Rodon was your move. Verlander was your move. Like, your move was going getting Soto last year. Like, these moves are done. Like, these are, like, in the best case scenario, you don't need to go get these guys. Obviously, you could always use them, but you don't need to go get these guys. I think all of a sudden the Dodgers losing Lux. That's like a bat. That's like a solid bat in the lineup. It's a guy in the infield. Like, Ohtani.
Starting shortstop.
Yeah, he may have sharded too.
He probably sharded.
You never know. He could play across the infield.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that's an unfortunate injury. You wish him well, even though he's your opposing Dodger. But I think baseball will definitely get more into that as the season goes with all the new rules. Very exciting to see. I'm excited for stolen bases to go up.
Yep, me too.
Cool. All right, Daily Stripe. See you guys next time. Don't go anywhere because we'll be back tomorrow.